The Byzantine Empire lasted over 1,000 years, longer than almost any other empire in history. They were the eastern half of the old Roman Empire, and while others fell, they endured. Surrounded by enemies, battered by wars, plagues, and betrayals, the Byzantines survived when collapse seemed certain. How? Resilience. They adapted, rebuilt, and outsmarted their foes. The Byzantines didn't just fight with swords, they used diplomacy, strategy, and innovation. They knew when to make peace, when to build walls, and when to unleash secret weapons. Their story is about survival against the odds. Even when disaster struck, they found a way forward. Their cleverness often mattered more than brute strength. Over the next sections, we'll explore their incredible city, their leaders, and the moments that tested them. We'll see how they faced disaster and found ways to win. The Byzantine legacy still echoes in our world today. Their story teaches us that resilience and adaptability can outlast even the greatest storms. Let's dive into the world of the empire that wouldn't die. This is the story of Byzantine resilience. At the heart of the empire stood Constantinople, a city built to endure. Its founder, Constantine the Great, chose a site surrounded by water on 3 sides, making it nearly impossible to attack. The Theodosian walls, layer upon layer of stone and towers, turned the city into a fortress. For centuries, these defenses held back every invader. Constantinople was also a crossroads of trade, bringing wealth from Asia, Europe, and beyond. This prosperity funded armies, navies, and stunning buildings like the Hagia Sophia. The city's riches and security made its people feel invincible. They called it simply the city, the center of their world. Constantinople was a beacon of civilization while much of Europe was in chaos. Its strength and wealth were the foundation of the empire's survival. The city's walls and spirit made it a safe harbor in a dangerous world. Constantinople was the unbreakable heart of Byzantium. The Byzantines were surrounded by enemies: Goths, Huns, Persians, Arabs, Bulgars, and more. Massive wars raged on every border, and Constantinople itself was besieged more than once. The Arab caliphates, in particular, tried to conquer the city and end the empire. Inside the walls, fear and hunger were constant companions during these sieges. To survive, the Byzantines mastered diplomacy, playing enemies against each other, forging alliances, and using gold as a weapon. They arranged royal marriages, sent missionaries, and used soft power to create allies. When diplomacy failed, they relied on a unique military system, the themes. Soldiers farmed their own land and defended it fiercely, creating a loyal, ready army. This system let the empire raise troops quickly and hold the line for centuries. The Byzantines fought for their homes, not just for distant emperors. Their blend of cunning diplomacy and citizen soldiers kept the empire alive. Against endless threats, they endured. Survival was a daily struggle, but they made it an art. The empire's enemies never stopped coming, but neither did the Byzantines. War wasn't the only threat. The plague of Justinian struck in the 6th century, killing millions. The disease swept through Constantinople, leaving bodies unburied and the city in chaos. Even Emperor Justinian fell ill, barely surviving. With so many dead, farms went untended, the economy faltered, and the army shrank. Justinian's dreams of reconquering the West collapsed. The empire was left weakened and vulnerable to its enemies. Yet the Byzantines endured. Survivors rebuilt, the government adapted, and faith became a source of hope. The plague left deep scars, but the empire's core, its government, city, and people, remained. They faced one of history's worst pandemics and survived. The experience made them more cautious, but also more resilient. Even in the darkest times, the Byzantines found a way to carry on. Their strength was tested, but not broken. Outnumbered and surrounded, the Byzantines relied on brains over brawn. Their most famous weapon was Greek fire, a liquid flame that burned even on water. Enemy fleets attacking Constantinople were devastated by this terrifying invention. The recipe was a closely guarded secret, lost to history. The Byzantines also excelled at intelligence and deception. Spies and informants gave them advance warning of enemy plans. They spread false rumors, tricked opponents, and avoided battles they couldn't win. Fortifications and walled cities slowed invaders, buying time for the empire to regroup. The Byzantines often let enemies exhaust themselves before striking back. Their patience and cunning turned the tide in many wars. Victory didn't always come from open battle. It came from outsmarting the enemy. Innovation and strategy were their greatest weapons. The Byzantines survived by being cleverer than their foes. Strong leaders were vital to Byzantine survival. Emperor Heraclius, facing disaster, led a daring campaign deep into Persia, turning defeat into victory. He reclaimed lost lands and inspired his people with courage and strategy. Heraclius's leadership saved the empire from collapse. Later, Emperor Basil II, known as the Bulgar Slayer, spent decades defeating the Bulgarians and strengthening the empire. He was a patient, relentless general and a skilled administrator. Under Basil, the empire reached new heights of power and stability. Not all leaders were warriors. Some were brilliant organizers and reformers. The right leader at the right time made all the difference. Their vision and determination held the empire together in its darkest hours. Leadership was the backbone of Byzantine resilience. When the empire needed heroes, they rose to the challenge. Heraclius and Basil II were pillars of strength. Their legacies shaped the empire's fate. The real strength of Byzantium was its people: farmers, merchants, priests, and city dwellers. They rebuilt after plagues, stood on the walls during sieges, and kept daily life going. Faith united them. They believed their empire was protected by God and the saints. During crises, they marched in processions, prayed, and found hope in their shared beliefs. Churches and monasteries became centers of support and stability. Life was hard. Farmers faced invasions, merchants braved dangerous roads, but they persevered. They passed down traditions, skills, and a sense of identity. Their resilience was quiet but unbreakable. Ordinary people formed the bedrock of the empire's thousand-year existence. Their determination kept the empire alive through every disaster. The story of Byzantium is the story of its people. They endured, adapted, and never gave up. Their spirit was the empire's true foundation. Not all threats came from enemies. Sometimes betrayal came from supposed friends. In 1204, the Fourth Crusade, meant to reclaim Jerusalem, turned on Constantinople instead. The Crusaders, short on money, attacked the city, shocking its people. After a brutal siege, they broke through and unleashed 3 days of destruction. Priceless treasures were stolen, ancient statues melted, and fires destroyed much of the city. The empire was shattered, replaced by a Latin empire, and Byzantine nobles fled into exile. For over 50 years, Constantinople was under foreign rule. It seemed the empire was finished, not by old enemies, but by fellow Christians. Yet in 1261, the Byzantines retook their city, restoring the empire. But the damage was done. The empire was now a shadow of its former self. The betrayal left wounds that never fully healed. Still, the Byzantines' resilience brought them back from the brink. Even in defeat, they refused to disappear. After the Fourth Crusade, the Byzantine Empire survived for 2 more centuries, but it was never the same. Surrounded by powerful enemies, especially the Ottomans, its days were numbered. In 1453, Constantinople fell after a heroic defense, the end of Byzantium. But the empire's legacy lived on. Byzantium shielded Europe for centuries, preserving knowledge and culture. Its scholars fled west, sparking the Renaissance with ancient texts and ideas. Byzantine law, art, and architecture influenced countries from Italy to Russia. Their mosaics and domes still inspire awe. The story of Byzantium is the ultimate lesson in resilience. They faced war, plague, and betrayal, but always adapted and endured. Their journey shows that true strength is refusing to give up. The light of Byzantium still shines in our world today. Thanks for exploring this incredible story with us.